if you're a fan of the Z Fold phones, here we finally have our first look at what the Z Fold 7 might look like, thanks to the guys over at OnLeaks and Android Headlines, I believe is who it is. So these guys are pretty reliable about putting stuff out, and they're usually the only ones that I cover whenever it comes to leaks because they're so reliable. So here you can see the images that they have. We're looking at the first images of what the Z Fold 7 should look like. And if this comes to fruition, then it's going to be a nice bump in thinness, a nice bump in screen size. It should be about 1.1 millimeters thinner than the Z Fold 6 and 0.4 millimeters thinner than the Z Fold 6 SE. So it'll be just a hair thinner than the Z Fold 6 SE. And then on top of that, looking at an 8.2-inch inner display with a 6.5-inch outer display. That would make it the largest display on the front that we've seen and the largest inner display on the front too. So we're going to have a big inner display. We're going to have a bigger outer display, slightly thinner. And from what I've seen with the renders and what you've seen, like it doesn't look like we're still going to get an S Pen on the inside of it. And seeing as the Z Fold 6 SE didn't have S Pen support, it'll be really interesting to see if they go that route as well. Now, I really hope that we keep the S Pen, and I'm totally happy with it being on the case. This has never really bothered me all that much. I was a little more frustrated like 2 years ago whenever we had some leaks like very similar and close to when it came out saying that we would have an internal S Pen bay and we would have S Pen functionality on the front screen, and then that didn't happen. So I was a little upset about that. But it looks like, of course, it'll have the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, which will be a nice upgrade. And reportedly, will have a 200 megapixel camera. So we should finally be getting a big, meaningful camera upgrade on the primary camera. It might have the same ultra wide, might have the same telephoto. That I don't have as much heartburn about. But if we do get the 200 megapixel camera, the same thing that we've seen with the Z Fold 6 SE edition, then that would be, I think, a big upgrade. It would be nice to have that, nice to have it a thinner phone, nice to finally get kind of the dimensions everybody wants. And I said this when they came out and they announced the Z Fold Special Edition, the Z Fold 6 Special Edition. I said, let's look to the future, and I'm pretty certain that the Z Fold 7 will be exactly that phone. And here we have our first real look with these leaks of what the renders look like for the Z Fold 7. And lo and behold, basically identical specs, right? I mean, 0.4, like 0.04 millimeters thinner is basically the same phone, right? So that'll be nice having a bigger exterior screen too, because a lot of people are not too crazy about how thin and how narrow the front screen is. So it looks like that's finally going to get bigger. And then, of course, we'll have the bigger interior screen. What'll be interesting to see is if they make any change to the crease, right? We've got the ever so unpopular crease that's basically the worst with Samsung. I don't really mind it because it is a folding screen. I don't really care that much. But when you take a look at phones like the Honor Magic V3, when you take a look at phones like the new Oppo, yeah, there are some seriously diminished creases in those phones. They're basically almost creaseless in certain situations. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Samsung handles that. Also, it looks like it's probably going to be the same 4400 milliamp battery, which the 4400 milliamp battery with the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3, I've been pretty happy with. I mean, you get over 6 hours of screen on time, about 7 hours screen on time. If we get even better with that, with the Snapdragon 8 Elite, especially with the software optimization and things like that, I think you can probably still expect all-day batteries. So I understand when you have a phone that is this thin, and then if it's going to be 1.1 millimeters thinner than this, and still maintain the same size battery, yeah, there's some trade-offs that you have to make in that department. Of course, you take a look at like the Honor Magic V3 and some of the other ones, we're talking 5,000 over 5,000 milliamp batteries. So some of this technology is not as impressive still with what we're getting back east, but here in the States, it's going to be industry leading. And here's another thing that you have to look at this year. OnePlus has said they're not making a OnePlus Open 2 in 2025, which means that we're only going to have two phones here, two foldables in the US. That's the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and then we'll have the Z Fold 7 whenever it comes out. Now, when is it going to be here? Around July, August timeframe. So that's what we should expect. That's what we've seen the last couple of years. I was in New York this last go around. I believe it was in July, June or July when I was there. I think it was July. And we had like a satellite event for the Unpacked, but they had the announcement there and stuff like that. I got to see it. I got to go up there. I got to shoot some hands-on footage and things like that. So hopefully Samsung takes me back. I'd really like to go back up there so I can get as much hands-on and early advanced time with these as possible for you guys. Worked out really well with the S25 launch. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I like the Z Fold. I still say that the Z Fold 6 is my favorite. I like the S Pen integration, and I have said this over and over and over again. I don't see the point of having a screen this big and not having some sort of stylus construct or implementation. So yeah, Z Fold 7, hopefully it still has the S Pen. That is a big feature draw for me whenever it comes to these phones. I don't use it as much with the Ultra, but I use it a lot. I use it so much with the folding phones. And then whenever it comes to the front screen, if they add the digitizer to where we can use the S Pen with the front screen, I will be so happy. Like, that would make me tremendously happy. So there's going to be a lot of stuff. Like, there'll be moving parts between now and then, but basically stuff we can largely assume is it should have the 200 megapixel camera. It probably have about the same size battery. It will have the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. And yeah, if these are true, and I have no reason to believe they're not, like these guys over at OnLeaks, they're on the ball. They're like the #1 guys when it comes to this stuff. They're pretty much the only early leaks that I report on whatsoever because they have such a good track record. So if this holds up, that'll be great. People will finally get what they're asking for. And largely, I think the reception on the Z Fold 6 SE, which is the larger version, was pretty positive. And that's what people are like, this should have been our phone. So I said whenever I saw it, it's going to be the Z Fold 7. It looks like it will be. So if you want to get some early advanced idea of what you're working with here, go watch some Z Fold 6 SE videos on YouTube, and that'll give you a good feel for it because it's only going to be like 0.04 millimeters thinner. And the screen sizes should be basically about the same. So we're going to have a big screen. I think it was like 8.2 inches on the inside. So it's going to be a nice bigger interior screen, a little bit bigger outside screen, some nice performance benchmarks updates, of course, with the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, new camera, and all that stuff will be good. So I'm excited about it, and I saw this stuff. I wanted to go ahead and make the video to let you guys and gals know I'm a big fan of the foldable phones, and I've been covering them for a long time. So it's exciting stuff. I mean, here we are. We're just a couple of days away from March, and then we have March, April, May, June. So we're like 4 months removed from actually getting the Z Fold 7 and presumably the Z Flip 7. I'm assuming we'll have one of those too. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what the landscape is because this last year, the OnePlus Open, it was only a couple months old. So we had the OnePlus Open, and then we had the Pixel 9 Pro Fold that came out last year. We had the Z Fold 6. So we had 3 new phones effectively in 2024 with the foldable phones, with these big giant ones. So it seems like Samsung is at least addressing some of the peer pressure issues and kind of moving around with what the market wants and hopefully giving people what they want. So I don't think the Z Fold 6 sold particularly well because a lot of people saw it as the same old, same old, same old. So if we get this new one, new camera, new chip, new screen size, changed up dimensions, big screen, I think it'll probably sell really well and people will be really happy and be like, all right, I feel good about this. So we'll see what happens. Still a couple of months away, but I wanted to bring that to you guys. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, please go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoy the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys next time.